everybody, Dimitris Kiortsis here with another free lesson for you. Last time we did a David Gilmour classic solo. Today we are looking at another classic by Angus Young. These are of course very different guitarists playing in very different bands, but it's interesting to note that they are both basically blues-based pentatonic guitar players. So here's the first lick. This lick starts with an open E, open 6th string, and then E again, 1 octave higher, 7th fret of the 5th string, 7th fret of the 5th string. Notice that just before I pick the 5th string, I stop the 6th string with this, with the side of the thumb. So it is then 2 frets lower, D, always on the 5th string, and then C sharp, I use the first finger for optimum vibrato because you do need a nice wide vibrato here. For me, it's the first finger that does it better. Experiment and see with which finger you can achieve the best vibrato. Before we move on to the next lick, to the next phrase, I would like to talk a little about 16th notes and alternate picking. 16th notes means 4 notes per beat. And to divide one beat into 4, we can simply count 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 3 E and Da, 4 E and Da. With the picking hand, always picking downwards on the 1 and on the 3 and on the 1, on the 2, on the 3 and on the 4, in other words on every downbeat. Then always moving upwards on the E, 1 E, down on the end, 1 E end, and up on the A, 1 E and Da, like that. 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 3 E and Da, 4 E and Da. And we keep this continuous, this constant down, up, down, up, down, up motion, even if we skip some 16th notes, which we often do. So for example, if we are playing this, 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, the hand still picks downwards on the 1, moves up on the E without picking the string, then down on the end and up on the A. 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 3 E and Da. And by observing this simple rule, your playing will on its own become more rhythmic and fluent, naturally accenting the stronger notes. So the next phrase of the lick starts on the E of the 3rd beat, and this is why, of course, starts with an upstroke. I will play it slowly, and I would like you to observe the picking hand first. So 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 3 E and Da, 4 E and Da, E and Da, 4 E and Da, E and Da, 4 E and Da. Now let's look at the notes played with a fretting hand. Start with the first finger on the second fret of the fourth string. Then open third string, second fret of the third string, third fret of the third string, and then you have two consecutive pull-offs. Make sure that when you pull off down to the open G, to the open third string, you let the first finger rest on the second string without pulling it, because you don't want this, you want this. Then you play the second fret of the third string, but with the first finger flattened. And we do this so that you can play the next note, which is on the same fret but on the fourth string, very easily, by minimum effort and very smoothly, simply by rolling the finger like that, so that you can play this note on the second fret of the fourth string with a fingertip. See how effortless and smooth it is, as opposed to this. Or, in the final note, as you lift up the finger, as you roll up the finger a little bit to play the last note of the phrase, you stop the third string, because you don't want this, you want this. You don't want this, you want this. And the final part of lick 1 is to repeat the first phrase. I will play the whole lick once slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. And up to speed. The second lick starts by hitting dead strings, meaning that you simply touch the strings with a fret in hand without holding down any notes. So this, and then with the second finger on the third string, 7th fret, you play 3 upstrokes like that. Notice that after picking, I release the pressure here with the second finger to stop the sound, because we want these notes played staccato, not like that, like that. And then there's a 4th upstroke, but picking the dead string without holding down the note. So far it is. And then, with a downstroke, pick the same note, slide up 2 frets, and vibrato. Then, this is And this note again, but with a rake and vibrato. If you don't know what a rake is, study my previous lesson, the David Gilmour solo, Another Brick in the Wall, the second part, where on the third lick I explained what a rake is. So far we have and the last phrase is then pick this note and immediately bend up. Bend up, release, pull off. It's a 2-fret bend, so you reach this pitch. Release, pull off, and then the last phrase is the last 3 notes you could play with one finger, with the second finger, but the problem is that when your finger is flat, it's not so easy, it's not so efficient for doing vibrato, so I prefer to use 2 fingers. I will play the whole lick slowly. 1 E and 2 E and 3. And up to speed. That's it for today. Have fun, practice, and come back next week for part 2.